I'm Ellen with Black.com, and I'm with director, producer, editor extraordinaire Maya Table. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I love blackfilm.com. Hi, y'all.
Oh, thank you, thank you. That means the world to us. So I've been excited to have this conversation just because I feel like you are a triple threat challenging the status quo. So thank you for that. Especially being a Black woman in this industry, that's needed. And so in looking at all the amazing projects you've been working on, and there are a lot, like you are a busy woman.
Yeah.
The first one that stands out to me is the Change music video that you directed and produced for the Biden-Harris Victory Fund concert, right? And so what intrigued me was that you made all this happen via Zoom.
Yes.
This was shot during COVID. So can you talk a bit about that experience and that process and what all went into it?
Yeah. So I have some people I've worked with for years, and it's maybe about 5 people. Whenever they text me, I usually don't ask any questions. So this time it was Falana Williams. And when she texts me, it's usually I take a beat to reply back because I know it's something she needs right now. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what it is, but I know it's urgent. And it absolutely was. And so she hit me up on a Sunday and was like, hey, I need you to do this video. And it was like all the information she gave me. I was like, okay, cool, whatever, we're going to figure it out. And so Monday, I helped them schedule the interviews. Tuesday, we scheduled the choir and we shot it. Went between Tuesday and Wednesday and did the edit Thursday, Friday, and had it done Saturday. But it was really fun. I was really excited about it, and I love the song. And just usually if I'm excited about an idea, it doesn't seem like it's it doesn't seem hard to do at all. So I was in. And then I like that it was via Zoom because I was always seeing Zoom videos just with the 2 panels, like how we look now. But I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to just do something a little bit different. So I took it as a chance to kind of show my creativity. Because I always think that's when people stand out the most, is that when they take something ordinary and just put their spin on it and make it unique. So
agreed. The video was fly. It was crisp. It just the transitions, like everything was just really dope about it. And the fact that you made all that happen via Zoom. I mean, sheesh.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. Some of them sent in their videos, and I would just give them direction, like, oh, you come here, do this, and others would call me, and then I would just direct them via Zoom. So Anthony Hamilton, I directed him, and Janae Dupree and Rotimi, and it went by so quickly, all of them, even Brian Michael Cox, because and Jonte Austin, because they're all professionals. So I'm like, okay, done in 5 minutes. What else y'all want to talk about?
Yeah, and so the song, it's written and produced by Jermaine Dupree and Neo, and is Jonte Austin also a part of that? And there were quite a few superstar people in that video, which made it, even more entertaining, notwithstanding the purpose of it.
Yes.
The lyrics and just the vibe. It was pretty dope. So your production credits are heavy. Like, you've produced music videos for Janelle Monáe, for Usher, Adidas, Travis Scott, Summer Walker, and the Migos. How would you describe your visual style when it comes to music videos? Because I feel like I got a taste of it in Hit the Road, so I'm wondering if it's the same sort of vibe.
That's something I'm still continuing to grow. Like before, I would think my style was, like someone else's, like maybe I should do this, the more common way, just to try to, maybe afraid to be my own self because I'm quirky and I'm chipper as hell all the time. And then I just start finding a way to put that within my work. So it would be closer to Hit the Road, just kind of things that are kind of not as expected. I always say the directors that feel closest to my style as a director for music videos are Hype Williams and Dave Meyers, because it's always just a little bit trippy. But it's been great producing for other people because, kind of helps me see the difference between their style and my style. And, and I never take anything as like, oh, this person is succeeding and I'm not. It's more like, okay, cool. Let me see. I love that I can define, like my friend Lacey I can define her style. And so that always helps me say, I want people to see a video that I did and just before reading the credits say, oh, Maya probably did that video.
Oh, I get that. I get that. I love the vibe of your short film, Hit the Road, which was selected by the Black Women Film Network as an official selection. So congrats on that.
Yeah. And it won for best editing too.
Nice. Okay. So I love the way it was shot. It was very reminiscent of old Hollywood silent films. And I was not even expecting that. So I was like a really pleasant surprise, but it has its like own unique and modern twist. What inspired that cinematic direction?
So it was a real story that actually happened between me and the boyfriend. And, you know, it was so funny at the time, but I didn't want to laugh because I was also aggravated. And I was like, this is actually really funny. But we only went back and forth maybe like 4 songs before I like totally left. But honestly, going into it, I didn't realize that it was all silent as much as it was until the edit part. Because I was so caught up on just the thought of creating it and writing it that I didn't even realize till after. So I guess it's a good thing because maybe I didn't overthink it. Because sometimes when you overthink things too much, it's just like the magic that you know is taken away. But I didn't realize it to the edit, and I was like, oh, no words.
It was also super crisp. I loved the warmth. It was such an inviting vibe cinematically that I can't wait to watch it myself.
Yeah. My DP Laura Aquel, that was our first time working together. And usually I always test out DPs on passion projects because that's how you working chemistry and your vibe and if you have the same style. So that was definitely her and I vibe, and then we clicked. And since then we've done Head and Shoulders commercials together, some sports commercials together. So that was really a great shoot.
And what's the difference between shooting a short film versus commercials? Is there like visually, what are some of those differences that we as the viewer, like we would never know about?
Commercials is more product based. So, you know, every shot has to deal with the product, even if you aren't thinking it's the product. It's like the branding as far as the color shirt the person has on, like for Head and Shoulders, you notice everybody had on like bluer tones and things like that. So those are always top of mind. When doing shorts, it's more vibe and what the audience understand what we mean, even without words and text and without having to say from Head and Shoulders, you know, on it, where people understand what we mean, and also making it not feel forced too. Okay. Because commercials is the expectation, like I know they're going to sell me on something. How are you going to sell it to me?
And so you don't want to come across as if that's exactly what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And so what's more stressful, shooting commercials or shooting short films?
Neither, actually. It's the producing part that's stressful. Okay. The shooting and directing is not at all. I'm like, oh, talk to my producer. But the producing part, I'm like, oh.
Gotcha. Because it's all the things that go into making that happen, right?
Yes. Okay. And sometimes I'm both, and it's tough. But recently I've been, taking the beat to interview more producers, and I found some really strong people that I'm really loving, so I can start saying no to producer projects, or even no to doing, 2 things on my own projects too.
Gotcha. So your short film dating app, which you directed, was featured by Issa Rae as her short film of the month. Like, wow. It doesn't get any better than that. Was adding film director to your repertoire a natural progression? Is that something you always wanted to do, or just kind of happened?
It was natural because I went to school to direct, and I found that editing first helped me become a stronger director. And so even when I was in school, I worked at this lab called the Digital Aquarium, and I had to teach other students how to use the film equipment and how to use the editing software. So I had to learn it first to teach it. And so they helped me kind of grow my voice. And I just felt like I just wasn't ready to direct, although that's actually what I wanted to do. Yeah. And producing, I fell into it just because nobody really wanted to put the pieces together or be, the person held responsible. But I liked it. I thought it was cool until I just kept doing it for years and years and years. But so now it's been like purposely going back and saying, okay, actually, I never actually wanted to produce. I wanted to only direct. And since then, I've directed spots for like Target and Walmart, and which, it's for strollers and baby products that they'll put on like their website or go on HSN. So I've done a good 100 of those.
Wow.
Or even commercials and spots for Make-A-Wish, which the Make-A-Wish projects really have helped me to really learn how to do narrative and pull out that emotion, because within a short period of time, you need to understand what these children are going through and also want to pay us at the end and give us donation. And that's like, it's a very fine line of doing that. And so that staff really taught me how to do that. And it's been so helpful these past few years.
I think it's amazing that you literally had your hand in like every facet of this. I mean, that just makes you just stronger and better and more of a force, which I think at this point in the game, like we have to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can't be this one thing. So kudos to you. I'm going to keep saying that throughout this.
Thank you.
I just think your journey is so amazing and it's inspiring. So if you could speak into fruition your ideal feature-length film project, what would it be?
Oh, goodness gracious. That is a great question.
Based on your short film, I'm looking forward to seeing like a full length of all that. Amazing.
Yes. I think, I was going to say too that it would be something with comedy beats, because I've been learning that that's my style. Even when like Head and Shoulders approached me and they said, we love how you show Black people and we love your comedy beats. And PBS approached me to direct and produce some stuff and they said the same thing. So I'm like, that actually is my style. So it's great that people are picking it up. So I know it would be some sort of comedy, maybe some type of romance comedy, because I have definitely been I fall in love with a guy in a week. Like we are getting married. And so that always leads to other stuff, which was the inspiration for those two films. So I'm like, right. I think I'm just going to keep that going.
And that is so relatable. Oh my God. Because we all have, like, you are not alone.
It's like, I know I see the red flags, but he's amazing, right? I know.
I love it.
They have a car, but who needs that? There's Uber. There's Uber.
I mean, it's painful, that process, but it is what it is. So it would be, it would be fun to watch that articulated in a unique way.
Yes, I have heard lots of firsthand experience.
I love it. I love it. So the evolution of your journey as a female director, again, and producer, it's incredibly inspiring. When did you know that this was what you wanted to pursue? Like at what age? Like what sparked it?
It was 12th grade actually, because I wanted to be a dermatologist. And so, 12th grade is when you're trying out different advanced classes to see what you want to do more. But I found out I was squeamish to blood. Like blood makes me throw up. Or if you tell me that you broke your arm, my arm is going to hurt really bad. Right. And so I was like, that didn't work for me. And so, my friends and I used to do talent shows where we were dancing them, and I would be the one that was mixing the tapes. And I just found that really fun. And then around that time, The Best Man had come out, I think a year or two later when I was in college, and I liked what Nia Long was doing. And I was like, that looks interesting. And I found out she was a TV director. So that started that journey. And I've loved it. Just been able to lean into my creative side a bit more. So it's been great.
Okay. And so how did the reality of gender inequality in film impact, the inception of your journey? Just knowing how and what this industry is all about, did that affect any decisions early on?
It didn't actually, because my parents didn't ever bring us up. So it's 3 girls. So they never made us feel like, girls can't do this or people of color can't do that. Growing up, Black people are the smartest. One sister's a scientist. My aunts are, professors at Hampton and at Howard. And my dad was a computer scientist. So in my life has always been like, Black people are amazing. So there's never been that you can't do this because you're Black, or you can't do this because you're a woman. Even when I was in 4th grade, I was a tomboy and I wanted a football for Christmas, and my dad got me a football. He didn't say anything like, this isn't for girls. He just got me one. The next year I was totally girled out. But so they never, put us in that kind of lane, or just said, or restricted what we could or couldn't do. So going into this, I think it was a little bit shocking at times when I would encounter people or encounter attitudes or just mean personalities, and trying to decipher what that was. Because I always felt like we worked so hard to get in these positions. So to be mean or grumpy, that just seems like a slap in the face to God and to all the things that you've hoped for. So that's another reason I'm chipper. I'm like, I worked so hard for this. Even if somebody leaves a bad comment on my film, I'm like, they took the time to comment. That meant that it meant something enough to them to write a review or write something, even if it was a bad one, which I don't get too often, but even those I still, like it, and it's all feedback. But I think it's been something that kind of caught me off guard just a little bit. And it's mainly not a woman of color thing I found. It's more of a woman thing.
Wow. Right.
Mm-hmm. So, and I don't come on set like I always say I'm an alpha, but I'm not like a boastful, loud alpha. I'm more of a soft alpha. So usually when I'm on set, I get, are you the makeup artist? Are you the caterer? Are you the talent? I get that all the time. I'm like, no. I'm the director, or
Boss.
I always get that, but or I get from crew members where people like to mansplain,
Sure.
especially when it comes to like editors, and I have edited longer than most people at this point. So usually I just kind of give people a chance to, say what they need to say. And then I kind of, let them know that I know the same amount of information. And then they calm down. So, I don't get too offended unless somebody's just like overly disrespectful, which rarely happens. But, it definitely threw me off a little bit.
Right. I could imagine. What would you say most informs your work as a female director and producer and editor?
My friends and family, they've always been my muses. So in all of my work, my family is in everything. The only thing that they aren't in is Hit the Road. That's actually the only one. But at the end of Dating App, the voice at the end is my uncle, because he sounds like Winnie the Pooh now. So he's at the end. My uncle Poochie, I started a series on him. He's a vegan and he dresses like a pimp every day. So I've been doing, and it's just like ever since, yeah, since I've known him, that has been him. And I didn't think anything of it till people were always so shocked when I would tell them about him. So I started documenting him last year. And then people at Condé Nast saw it and contacted me to do a piece for Self Magazine based on how I documented him. Or my mom is in Reclaiming Nappy. She's the mom in that film. My younger sister, she's in the Pantene Pro V commercial. The Head and Shoulder commercials. That's my sister, the one that's scratching her head. And my older sister too, she, whenever someone asks me about a film or a show, she's a scientist, so in her free time, she just binge watches everything. So I usually ask her like, hey, I have a meeting. They told me to watch the show, and I didn't. And she was like, but they probably want you to watch that show because of this angle and this and that and that actor. So I really, and she's also the biggest critic because she's not going to laugh unless it's funny. So.
Wow.
Yes.
I love the whole, it's a family affair. I mean, it takes a village, and who better than your family and friends to kind of hold you down in that way.
It is. My production company is named after my granddad, Sam Frank Productions.
Right.
His name is Sam Table, but I thought his middle name Frank was so cute. So
right.
I was like,
let's string to it, Sam Frank. And it reminds me of Sam Cooke, kind of sort of like heaviness. It's weighted in a really dope way. So what else can we look forward to from you? Any upcoming projects we should know about and be on the lookout?
Oh, yes. So I'm directing and show running a show for PBS called Say It Loud. And it actually comes out in 2 weeks. We are still deep in like post-production right now. So that is the latest and greatest thing. And Fox Soul will be showing Dating App on February the 25th.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to watching it all. And I'm looking forward to all else that you do from this point forward. I think you have a really amazing eye for detail and color and warmth. So yeah, again, kudos to you, Mike.
Thank you so much. That's awesome to hear. And thank you, honestly, for Black Film, because I think I discovered blackfilm.com maybe 2 years ago. And I'm like, oh, this is just like everything I always wanted out of a platform. So thank you.
I wish, as I was coming up, I knew about this. Like this one stop to kind of go and find out everything that's going on in our community.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. So thank you for that support. We appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.